Hello and welcome to the Daily Mill for Monday the 27th of February 2023. And even though we just got out of a game on Saturday, feels like it was just the other day, we are previewing tomorrow's game against Luton away. But before we get onto that, we still have to talk about the game at the weekend. So we've got this from londonnewsonline.co.uk. 4 takeaways for Millwall's 1-0 win at Stoke City. Flemming fires clinical Lions a step closer to Championship playoffs. Millwall secured their 5th win in 7 Championship away matches with a gritty 1-0 win against Stoke City at the Bet365 Stadium on Saturday afternoon. Zian Flemming scored his 11th goal of the season to seal crucial 3 points, keeping Millwall in the top 6 ahead of 2 crunch fixtures against Luton Town and Norwich City this week. Here are Alex Grace's takeaways from the contest. Dutchman ends his barren spell. It's the first time in 2023 that Millwall's club record signing has found a net 2-0 win at Watford. It was the last time Zian Flemming was on the score sheet, and that will be a significant weight off his shoulders. Despite going 10 games without scoring, he still can constantly threaten the opposition's defences. However, there was no way he would pass up this opportunity when it came to him. He will be given a big thank you to George Saville for the initial stages of the goal, though. The Northern Ireland international, 2 tremendous challenges allowed Flemming to receive the ball from Andreas Vogelsammer. However, there was still lots to do for Flemming, and he did brilliantly. His close control of the ball was excellent, forcing Phil Jagielka further and further back. The former Everton captain elected not to challenge the midfielder, who then finished superbly well into the bottom corner, making it look so easy. He and Tom Bradshaw are tied at the top of the club's goal scoring charts with 11 goals each. Flemming can rediscover his golden touch in front of goal, and he and Bradshaw could fire the Lions to a top 6 finish. The away form is picking up for the neutrals watching on and trying to predict how the top 6 race will go. The Lions' inability to repeat their home form on the road was the excuse they used for not backing Millwall. They have been excellent at home, with only the top 2 taking more points on their own patch, but slowly Gary Rowett's men are starting to pick up their away form. Their form away from SC16. Success at Stoke was the 6th time the Lions have won away from home. 4 of those successes have come since the World Cup break. 5 victories in their last 7 away matches, backed up by that tremendous home form, have been the main reason for the side now being able to consolidate a top 6 spot with a game in hand. There is now also a small gap beginning to form with some of the other sides. Watford are in 8th and 3 points behind the South Londoners, but Millwall have the chance to extend that lead at Luton on Tuesday night, which will leave them in a solid position when Norwich visit SC16 on Saturday afternoon. It's also worth noting that after Tuesday's game at Kenilworth Road, all of Millwall's remaining away games other than West Brom are against teams in the bottom half of the table. That means we've already had our hard games. We've already had them. Lions win gritty, something not all of their rivals can do. The success at Stoke will not be remembered for brilliant football. What it will be remembered for is a tremendous defensive attitude and game management. This is the 15th time in 16 games that Millwall won when they've scored the first goal this season. Stoke were the better team in Staffordshire. They dominated the ball and they kept Millwall camped in their own half, but they failed to break them down. Rowett's men have the 4th best defence in the league. Only Burnley, Sheffield United and Luton have conceded fewer goals than Millwall's 33. Luton will be a tough away day, but in recent away successes their stern defensive work has been rewarded with clean sheets. The shutout at Stoke is added to ones at Watford and Cardiff since the World Cup. Despite the majority of away games to come being against teams in the bottom half, the Lions will need to show the same grit and determination to defend their goal unless they can create more openings. Flemming goals Millwall's only shot on target at Stoke, showing that they can also be clinical when needed. All these are traits which will get you in the top 6. Other teams around them do not have that same stealing mindset. One tough week completed, but another one beckons. The last week was a tough one, no doubt. Taking 7 points from Sheffield United, Burnley and Stoke is a terrific haul. Still, such is the relentless nature of the Championship playoff battle, that there is another huge season-defining week coming out. Tuesday's game at Luton will see 6 hosts 5th, with nothing separating the 2 sides. 2 evenly matched teams are meeting in the game that will see the winners end the night in a very commanding position in the table and a top 6 battle. Being no doubt the Lions will have to improve on the showing at Stoke to win at Luton, but they will take that into that game the same attitude of doing whatever it takes to defend their goal and leave unscathed. I mentioned this could be a season-defining week. 2 victories against playoff rivals will leave Rowett's men cemented in that top 6 ahead of games against Swansea, Reading and Huddersfield, which would give them further hope that this could well be their year to gatecrash the end of season lottery. Moving on to this, also from LondonNewsOnline.co.uk. Millwall boss Gary Rowett has praised for immense Jake Cooper. Gary Rowett has labelled centre-back Jake Cooper's display as immense in helping Millwall muscle even more firmly into Championship playoff contention. The Lions are fifth in the table and head to Luton Town, who are a place below them tomorrow night. Cooper, 28, has played 287 matches for Millwall, and Rowett has appreciated the former Reading defender's contribution as Millwall try and hunt down a top 6 finish. Cooper and his teammates targeting to secure a 1-0 win at Stoke City at the weekend. Coops has been immense for us, Rowett told the South London press. With Archie being out and taking the captain's armband, it shows the leadership within the group. He's a player that you undervalue some of those clearances, blocks, and the way he heads it out of the box. But he's so dominant in those situations, and you sometimes take it for granted. Because he's done it for so long. In the last period of games, he's been absolutely outstanding. He's been a big factor behind our defensive solidity. Along with Longy and the other defenders, he's been so consistent. It's only sometimes when you reflect on the period that you realise how important and consistent he's been. He's been brilliant so far, and he's going to be really important if we want to stay in and around where we are. Indeed, very much so. Let's hope he doesn't get injured. He's one who hasn't been injured yet so far this season. Touch wood. Millwall club record signing Zian Flemming was not frustrated at Barron's scoring run. This is also from LondonNewsOnline.co.uk. Zian Flemming spoke of his delight after he ended his goal-scoring drought during Mill's 1-0 victory at Stoke City on Saturday afternoon. Mill's number 10 scored the only goal of the game in the 9th minute as Mill claimed a vital 3 points in their battle for a top 6 place in the Championship. It took a bit long for me to score a goal. I was getting a bit impatient, but I'm happy that it's in, and it gave us 3 points, said Flemming. Sometimes you get some chances and they just don't go in. There have been lots of games where I didn't get that many chances, but it was important to the team in a different way. It's not something you keep thinking about or make a big deal of. Obviously, you want to score, so the more, the better. And soon, it wasn't like I was frustrated about it, just impatient. But whilst the Dutchman has not found the net since the 2-0 success of Watford on Boxing Day, he has remained a vital part of Mill's attacking play and showed his importance during the games against Sheffield United and Burnley. I try to be important to the team, not just by scoring goals, of course, but in other ways as well, he said. Sometimes you want to score a goal, but you'll be valuable to the team, and I think I've done that in the past 2 months, but obviously I want to be valuable in that way and score goals. Asked if he's felt frustrated at any stage of his Barron's process, sometimes you have a period where the chances drop in front of you, every shot is a goal. Look at Bradders in the last 2 games where he scored 4 and 2. Sometimes you won't get that many chances, you might get one, but and if you're a bit unlucky, they won't go in. I think even Haaland isn't scoring all the time. Don't make too big a deal out of it. But obviously, you want to score every week. I do. Tom Bradshaw had overtaken Flemming at the top of the club's goal scoring charts after his hat-trick against Sheffield United and the equaliser against Burnley last Tuesday. And the club record signing is happy to see others finding the net for the team in what is a crucial period for Millwall in their battle for a top 6 place. They continue that quest against Luton and Norwich this week. It's really good that we have multiple players that can score goals, or gives assists, or decide the game, said Flemming. The last games were big, and obviously the closer you get to the end of the season, the bigger they become. I don't think you have to make too big of a deal of it. It's an important game, but it's just one of the other 46. And if we approach it in the same way we've been doing it all the time, we have a really good chance of beating both of them. Due to the injuries and illness, Gary has been forced to turn to the club's youngsters to help bolster the first team squad. It's good for every club that there are a few young players from the academy coming through, said Flemming. Even if it's just for the numbers, but also for the academy to give the team a solid base. But you see it with Billy and Danny in the first team now for a while, and that's a very important point for every team, and I think Mill will do it very well now. Rom has been around for a while now, come on a few times, and he's doing really well. He's an important player for us, and he could be even more so in the future. Fantastic stuff there from Zian Flemming. Moving on now to the full story, which is also from the LondonNewsOnline.co.uk. Damn, so Lions boss cracks the EFL's top 5 longest serving manager list after ex-Charlton boss leaves Oxford, yes. Carl Robinson has been fired by Oxford United. and he's been there a fair old while, and obviously having a bit of a tough season, and we decided to let him go. So there you go. Now Garrett has moved up to the top 5. Garrett has moved into the top 5 of VFL's longest serving managers list after former Charlton boss Carl Robinson was dismissed by Oxford United. Robinson, 42, was approaching 5 years in charge at the Kassam Stadium, but was sacked yesterday after Oxford's 3-0 defeat at home to Bristol Rovers on Saturday. Robinson was the manager at the Valley from I don't care. Rowett has been in charge of the line since he replaced Neil Harris in October 2019. Has also now moved up to 9th in the longest serving managers in England, top 4 divisions. Harrogate Town boss, who's been the club since tops the EFL list. He's followed by John Coleman, then Mark Robbins, and in 4th is Sutton United's Matt Gray, and you have now Millwall's Gary Rowett in 5th. Rowett has taken charge of Millwall 171 times in all competitions, with South Londoners currently sitting inside the playoff places in the Championship. There you go, top 5, eh? Not bad, not bad. How long will it last? How long will it last? So moving on now to this. Season tickets started to go for next season, started to go on sale today. Millwall launched 2023-24 season tickets, and it's going to be the 30th year at New Den, or the Den as we call it now, because it's not that new after being there for 30 years. Yes. The benefits include a limited edition welcome pack, 20% off Millwall TV subscriptions, and exclusive promotion in the Lion store. The Super Saver period is now open, so this is Super Saver, and it will run to Wednesday the 20th, Wednesday the 12th of April. Now, why is that important? Easter Monday this year was on the 10th of April, so obviously we play on Good Friday and we play on Easter Monday. We're gonna be pretty sure by that time what we're doing in this league. So I'd imagine if we win that game on the Monday, are we at home on Easter Monday? Oh no, we should probably check. Let me check. Are we at home on Easter Monday? Bear with. It's an away. Is it an away at Hull? So we're away at Hull. On the Tuesday, will they be open or will it be closed for the bank holiday? You would think it would be open, but just in case. So after that game, after the game on Monday the 10th, we could be in a very, very good position, and I would imagine on Tuesday the 11th that this, before this deal runs out, that will be the day when you've got to decide: do I buy it now or do I wait? Because the price is going to go up. But even then, after then, you've got 13th of April to Thursday the 1st of June. So you think you see these prices here on this grid. Let me just move that. But you see these prices here. You could be paying this to watch a Millwall in the Premier League next season. And I don't know if you know this about the Premier League, but the prices are absolutely outrageous. This is an absolute bargain. Some Premier League teams, you would pay a ticket for one game. This would be the price, or maybe two. It's, you know what I mean. So if we get to Tuesday the 11th of April, and you genuinely, sincerely believe that there is a possibility that because if we get in the playoffs, what's the possibility? It's a 4-team, so it's 25%, you could say. So if you 1 in 4, one of those 4 teams is going to go up. That's basically 25%. That's not taking in any other factors. So if you think we're going to get in the playoffs, and if you think that we might be one of the teams that goes up, the one team that goes up, surely it would be in your interest to buy a season ticket. And that might be super difficult. We are in the Premier League next season to get a ticket. They could sell all of the seats as season tickets, because obviously we know Mill's history, and that's going to bring a lot of people out of the woodwork to go to games, and I'm sure the club will just rather deal with people who they dealt with in the past. So get the season ticket holders currently to renew, maybe get members to get their season tickets, and any other people that are on the list that have built tickets in the past, let's get them signed up with season tickets as well, and then they don't have to worry for the rest of the season. Happy days. And but you never know. So keep an eye. Keep an eye. Obviously, it's a bit early to me. I don't know about you, but we're literally 2 days from March, so maybe it's not that early, but it feels early. You know what I mean? So I'm wondering, maybe this is off the course, but obviously we've got a game against Luton, against Norwich. Everyone's buoyant and everyone's ecstatic. But if you're risk averse, if you see the glass is half empty, you could turn around and say, well, let's strike while the iron is hot and get the season tickets out and get them selling. Because if we lose to Luton and we lose to Norwich, we could be down into 10th and we could just fade away for the rest of the season. But I don't think that's going to happen personally, but you never know. So here, so you can see that's a super saver price, and if we look on the top left corner, so it's 475, then it jumps to 523, and then after that, if there are still any more on sale, it goes to 588. So it is a massive. If you do get in early, you get very well rewarded for getting in early if you can afford it. Here's all the rest. They do financing and stuff. There are discounts for age and other things. Family stand, it's quite cheap. And if you've currently got a season ticket and you want to be in the same seat next season, you've got until the 1st of June to buy the same seat, otherwise they'll give it away to someone else. And they're also pushing the away season ticket, which certainly if you're in the Premier League, this is something you want to sign on to. It's basically, you tell them, you pay them 20 quid and say, look, put me at the front of the queue, guaranteed League and Cup ticket, League and Cup away ticket. So I don't know if that's limited though. I don't think a lot of people signed up to it because we had. So obviously Luton games probably quite popular, and they only give us like 1,171 tickets. So I'm pretty sure there's certainly nowhere near that number signed up for this. But if we do get in the Premier League, this is something to sign up for as well, because this will be worth its weight in gold. And this, we could see a situation where, in terms of trying to negate any potential trouble, that the club force you to sign up for this scheme or similar, to just weed out all the bad apples and try and make it as difficult for people as possible, because we know that the press will get their heckles up with Millwall in the Premier League. But hey ho, we don't know what's going to happen. We certainly don't. We're not guaranteed that we're going to get promoted. We're not guaranteed we're going to get in the playoffs. But there you go. Season tickets on sales. Everything's on sale. Fantastic stuff at a very cheap price right now until the 12th of April. Now, moving on to the Loanwatch from southwarknews.co.uk. Millwall Loanwatch, too little too late in the National League relegation battle. Maidstone United's hope of retaining their place in the 5th tier looked to be vanishing after extending their winless run to 13 games. Shamar Lawson started for Maidstone United as they played out a 1-1 draw against relegation rivals Gateshead. The time was running out for them to avoid the drop as they remained rooted to the foot of the table. The Stones went behind in the 18th minute when centre-back George Fowler headed the ball past the goalkeeper Dan Barden and into the back of his own net. But they struck back just 3 minutes after the half-time break thanks to Joshua Shoniberry's back post flick. The result extends Maidenstone's winless run in the National League to 13 matches, leaving them 10 points off safety with 12 games to go. They host 23rd place Scunthorpe United tomorrow night in what is undoubtedly a must-win game. if they are to stand a chance of retaining their 5th tier status. But elsewhere, Alex Mitchell-St Johnstone continue higher place in the top half of the Scottish Premiership table before the league splits in half at the end of April. The centre-back played the full 90 minutes as his side drew 1-1 with St Mirren at McDermott Park. Saints fans were hopeful that substitute Zach Rudden had done enough to hand the side all 3 points with his goal in the 75th minute, but they were pegged back just 11 minutes later thanks to Andreas Gogic's late equaliser. I believe they had a man sent off in that game as well, so St Johnstone were down to 10 men. Callum Davidson's side are just 4 points behind Aberdeen in 6th, but face a tough test against high-flying Hearts at Tynecastle in their next game. And again, they miss out the goalkeeper on loan, Jordan Gilmore. He played 90 minutes for BCD Athletic as they lost 2-1 at Ramsgate, who are flying high at the top of the league. So there you go. Now, what are we doing now? Oh yeah, under 21s game today as well. It was all happening today. Millwall under 21s enjoy comeback win. So Millwall under 21s produced a second half fight back to defeat Reading 2-1 at Calmont Road on Monday afternoon. A stunning free kick from Matthew Carson gave the Royals the lead. Boo! But a strike after the break from Seb Joss. Yay! A penalty. Henry Hearn, yay! Gave Kevin Nugent's side 3 Professional Development League points. Fixture also saw Nana Boateng make a welcome return to action following injury. Yay! With the Lions looking for an immediate response to last week's defeat at Cardiff City, the opening 10 minutes were keenly contested. Right back Oliver Evans was non-stop with his running in the opening 45 minutes, providing some dangerous crosses early on which had to be dealt with by the Royals back line. Millwall's first chance fell to Drozd, who was inches away from latching onto Finn Cotton's through ball. Despite being on top, the Lions found themselves behind 10 minutes before half-time as Carson found the top corner from a free kick around 25 yards out. An opener that Mill goalkeeper Joe Wright had zero chance of keeping out. With an expectational goal. Oh, what? Eh? With an exceptional. Is that supposed to be exceptional? With an exceptional goal to put Reading ahead, it was important that Nugent's side kept their heads up, and the Lions certainly did not disappoint. The second half began with Millwall in the ascendancy, winning several dangerous free kicks, which forced the Royals' defence into last-ditch defending. It was beginning to feel like one of those days for Millwall, but why? Coleman was hacked down just inside the box with 20 minutes remaining, and a penalty kick was awarded to the Lions. Drozd, fresh from a first-team call-up at the weekend, confidently stepped up and slotted into the bottom corner to find the equaliser. Not long after, Millwall found the winner as Henry Hearn picked up a loose ball and ran through the heart of the Reading defence to unleash a powerful left-foot strike into the top corner to put the league leaders ahead. With Nugent reverting to a back five, the Lions then defended everything that came their way, although in added time, Reading winger Adrian Akande somehow managed to hit the post from 6 yards out, smashing his effort off the woodwork with the goal at his mercy. The 3 points keep Kevin Nugent's side, Young Lions, at the top of the tree going into next week's encounter with second place Bristol City at Ashton Gate. Whoa, what a game that will be. And the Millwall side was Wright, Ollie Evans, Adam Malachy, Stevenson, Havid, Ockley, Allen, Cotton, Hearn, Coleman, Boateng, Drozd, and the subs not used were, Boateng came on as a sub for Coleman in the 75th minute. Subs not used were Massey, George Evans, not that one, the young goalkeeper, Mackay, and Baker. So there you go. And that leaves the under 21s top of the table like this. We scroll down and change this is the table. Now Bristol City 2 games in hand of us. They got a game. They're playing tomorrow against Watford, who obviously, as you can see, are rooted at the bottom of the table. So hopefully Watford actually pull their fingers out and don't let Bristol smash goals for fun against them. That will be handy. But if they do, Bristol do win that game, they then go on level back on points with Millwall with a game in hand. So that game next week against Bristol at Ashton Gate, as it's supposed to be at Ashton Gate at the moment. They may change it at late, I don't know, but it is an important game again for Millwall in terms of trying to win the league. But you don't need to win the league, you just need to finish in the top 2 go through to the end of season playoffs against the northern sides. So, why today's game against Reading was important that we won that, because they have 3 games in hand of us, and if they won those, they could have gone above us. So it's good that we knocked them down a peg or two, and now if they win all their games in hand on us, they cannot go above us. They can only go 1 point behind us, so that's fantastic. Yeah, there you go. Now, finally, after 25 minutes of waffling, we are moving on to the main attraction of today's video, Luton Town. This is from 11v11.com. Here we have a historical record of Millwall's trips to Luton Town over the years, starting all the way back in 1909 in the FA Cup when we won 2-1. And you can see some kind of change. Going up to the war, we had many games pre-war that we did not win. We were out without a win going up to Luton. It's got to be around 10 or so games, maybe 12 games. Then after the war, so did the war mess them up? I don't know, but after the war, 1948, we win. First time in the league that we won there. We didn't play them again for a while, from 1948 to 1963. But when we did, we won that 3-1. Again, a bit of a gap. We played them in the League Cup 2-2. And again, in the 60s and 70s, late 60s, 70s, we don't win there. Until we get to 77, we win 2-1. And then something must have happened. There's a divergence. I don't know if they had a change of owner, what happened. In the 80s, obviously the incident, the FA Cup game, the 1-0 one, that we lost. We lost it on the pitch. And since then, it's kind of been more or less Millwall's game to win. Round about the 90s, obviously they're stuck at Kenilworth Road, bit of a not the best of grounds, and all the other clubs, including Millwall, have moved on. As we were just mentioning before, Millwall are 30 years at the new den season. That would be the 93-94 season. You can see there, so if we go back to last season, so last season we're here, 2nd of April 2022, we drew 2-2. So the last 3 games at Luton Town have been draws, 2-2, 1-1 and 1-1. We haven't lost at Luton since 2005. But before then, we were on, in the 90s and 2000s, we were on a 5-game winning streak up there, which ended with that defeat. But then since then, obviously, another streak without losing. We've only lost once in 12 games at Luton Town. So it's obviously something switched. The ascendancy's changed. We are the bigger team. I don't think you can argue with that. I think although Luton Luton did win the World Cup, the FA Cup. I believe they did win the World Cup. Stop saying World Cup. I believe that Luton have won an FA Cup in the past. Or did they just get to the final? I'm not too sure. But those glory days of Luton are long gone. Right now, you've got to think with financial fair play and stuff, when they're stuck in that ground and they can't get the attendances up and they can't get more revenue in, that there's a switch there that's seen them. Right now, they're probably at the pinnacle of what they can do, the budget that they've got, unless they're doing some smoke and mirror stuff behind the scenes. They're not really going to be able to push on, although a lot of people said last year that was the best that they could do, and now back next season and they're doing it again. And a lot of people put it down to their manager Nathan Jones, or the new guy's coming and he's doing just as well. So, but again, so if you look, this is 1 defeat in 12 games at Luton, and there's another defeat, so that's 2, and then there's another 4 games before we lose again, so there's two defeats in 17 games or so. That's That's a pretty one-sided thing in a fixture. This isn't normal for an away game. This is the kind of form that you would expect to see, like, I don't know, like Man United going to Southampton or something. Well, that's not a good example because they're losing them well. But you know what I mean? It's like Man United going to Fulham or something, where Man United more or less never lose against Fulham. So that is very, very one-sided. Very, very one-sided. But again, back in the past, so obviously there's been a generational shift. Something happened. Again, maybe it was the maximum wage. You don't really hear about Luton. Maximum wage, you hear about the northwestern teams who were dominating at the time, the Burnleys and whatnot, and they kind of fell off. Preston's whenever when there was like no limit on the wages, those kind of teams fell off because you could just go to the big city, big club in the big city. So that's when you see the rise of like Man United and stuff. Man United, Liverpool, etc. Teams in London, Chelsea, and Arsenal and stuff, and the little one town mill club just fell off. Maybe that's a situation, I don't know, but this is very one-sided at the moment. So let's move on to this from WhoScored.com. Match facts in the top right. They've been under 2.5 goals scored in Luton's last 7 games in the Championship. Luton have drawn their last 3 home matches against Millwall in all competitions. Luton have been drawing at both half-time and full-time in their last 3 home matches against Millwall in all competitions. Millwall are undefeated in 10 of their last 11 matches against Luton in all competitions. So that would include home and away. That's not what I just mentioned to you there, where we only got 1 defeat in 12 away games. They're saying in home and away games, in the last 11 matches against Luton, we're undefeated in 10 of them. So they haven't beaten us until in 10 games. So here we go. These are the last 6 games. They've scored 6 goals in those 6 games. We've scored 11. 4 yellow cards for them, 6 for us. We haven't lost any. We've drawn 4, only won 2. And one of them was in the Papa John's Trophy, or I imagine it wasn't called that at the time. It probably would have been called... Was it still the auto windscreens then? And then the other... So, of the last 6 trips to Luton, the only 2 wins came in the Papa John's Trophy and the FA Cup. And all the league games are actually draws. Okay. So here we go. Like I mentioned this on Sunday. Both teams on 33 games, 53 points. Literally, the goals for is 1 goal out. The goals against is 1 goal out. The goal difference is the same. They've drawn more games than us, but they've lost fewer games than us. They've only lost 8 games. So, let's have a look at the form table. The form is the same. And you see how good we've had it lately. Now, the form is the same, but who have we played? We've played Sheffield United and Burnley. I'm pretty sure they haven't played Sheffield United and Burnley. So the form is the same, but it's against different teams. Remember that. So the goal difference is the same on the form. 3, 2 and 1. They've only scored 5 goals in the last 6 games. And they've only conceded 3. So they do know how to defend. If we go back to standings and go to home form, they are 15th in their home form because they draw too many games at home. They've drawn 7 games at home. They've drawn 7 games at home and only won 5. They've only scored 20 goals at home. Now, in terms of away form, we're doing a lot better, but we've only scored 16 goals away. And we only had 1 shot on target in Stoke, and that was the goal that Zian Flemming scored. So Again, we've only drawn 3 games away. We haven't had many away draws, this season. We've won 6 and we've lost 8. And here's a tip: because their home form isn't that good, they've actually got a better. So could be like the Preston game. This could be like the Preston game because this is similar to what Preston were. Similar, Preston are really bad at home, but they were the best away team in the league. So they were in the table, they were quite high up because of that. But then we went to them and just battered them 4-2. It could be a similar game to that, because they won 9 away games out of 17. Only lost 4. So their home form. There you go. If we do that, and let's go back. That's kind of weird that 3 games in a row they're going to play. Oh no, 2 of them are opposition and one was them. I'm wondering, are they very good at getting players sent off? Do they do a bit of theatrics? So obviously we know about Millwall's away form. Obviously kept a clean sheet at Stoke, failed to score at Coventry, failed to score at Middlesbrough, kept a clean sheet at Cardiff. Only conceded 1 goal per game against Coventry, Queen's Park Rangers, and Middlesbrough. So there's that. Kept a clean sheet against Watford. Managed to score 2 against Watford and 2 against QPR. So bit of a mixed bag, really. Luton, however, look at this. So they lost at home to Burnley because their home form isn't that good. They got players sent off and they lost 1-0. They failed to score. They kept a clean sheet against Stoke. Kept a clean sheet against Cardiff, but only won 1-0. They drew 2-2 at home to Grimsby, the League 2 Grimsby. And of course, in the replay, they were knocked out, which is weird because they're better away from home. But I think they made changes for that game. I think they deliberately tanked that game. And they conceded 3 goals at home to Luton, but they scored 2. So I think it's probably depends which Luton turns up. Is it the one that turns up to defend, or is it the one that turns up to go toe to toe and attack against you? Because they are capable of scoring goals, but they are also capable of keeping clean sheets. Or again, is this a symptom of Stoke and Cardiff not being very good attacking wise? We saw how good Stoke were at attacking on Saturday, so maybe Luton scored and just sat back. I'm not too sure. So here we go. Strengths and weaknesses. Quite a few weaknesses for Luton. Protecting the lead, they're not very good. And they get offside a lot. Okay. Match forecast. Luton will score as a result of individual skill, very likely. Millwall will score from a direct free kick. Well, that depends. Is Zian going to take them? Millwall will make a comeback if they go behind. Very likely. Okay, so let's get on to the prediction. So obviously both teams got massive injury lists at the moment. There's the match facts again, but here we go. So a second half Carlton Morris goal proved enough to earn Luton the 3 points on Saturday as Rob Edwards' men tasted victory at St Andrews. The win against Birmingham has lifted the Hatters back into 12 places following a 3-game winless run. 3-game winless run, and they managed to beat Birmingham 1-0 away. Millwall will have their eyes set on reclaiming 4th place on Tuesday night as they look to extend their 3-game unbeaten run on their trip to Kenilworth Road. Gary Rowett's men beat Stoke 1-0 on Saturday thanks to an early Zian Flemming strike. Indeed, and then not 80 minutes worth of defending. And they predict Luton 1, Millwall 1. Which seems to be fair enough. I mean, the last 3 games have been close. Now, I'm going to show you this before I give you my prediction. This is from liveonsat.com. This tells you that around the world there are massive amounts of interest in this game. The whole world wants to see it. Remember, it kicks off at 8 p.m. because that's what Sky are doing now. They're doing 8 p.m. kickoffs, and it's on Sky Sports Football and Sky Sports Main Event and Sky Ultra 1 4K if you are in the United Kingdoms. Elsewhere around the world, you can see, if you can't see it, Arena Premium 1, Arena Premium 3 in Serbia, it's in Croatia, it's in Slovenia, it's in BN Connect in France, it's in Cosmos Sport, it's in DAZN 4 in España, it's in the SBN Plus USA in America, Match 4 in Hungary, it's in Premier Sport 1 in Slovakia, it's Tanta Sports in Belarus. It's in Super Sport Maximo, wherever that is. It's in Super Sport Variety. It's in V Sport Plus in Norge, which is Norway. And it's in Viaplay, Baltic, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Netherlands, Norway, Poland, and Sweden. So there you go. Which usually means the match passes will not be available in these countries if you're on the Millwall TV system. So predictions. Now, like I said, Luton Town are not a very good home team. They are more of an away team, and you've got to think. I know Millwall are a bit beat up now. You've got to think there's some changes being made. You can't push your luck with certain players. Obviously, there's a reason why players aren't in the team week in and week out, because they can't string together the performances that they've been doing. It's a bit hard to do that, obviously, when you're going from Saturday to Tuesday as well. So, however much you might be annoyed at this, I think you've got to think that Charlie Cresswell sits out and Hutch comes back in if he can last the full 90 minutes. There's maybe Ryan Leonard coming in for Shackleton. He did well against Sheffield United, but against Burnley we got a bit lucky with him giving the ball away, and then against Stoke as well. So that might be a change that happens. Obviously, is Burke fit? Is Watmore fit? If they are, then Burke's certainly maybe got to come in. He's got a bit of quality that can rip Luton apart. Obviously, you got to start Bradshaw because the game's on Sky, and he'll probably score a hat trick. Just let him know that. Yeah. So, which way do you go? I don't think we're going to lose. Draw could be on the cards, but what kind of draw is it going to be? I think if we try and do what we did at Stoke, and if we do get a goal up early and then we just sit back, it worked against Stoke because Stoke are not very good, and they had many shots and they just were shooting outside the area high and wide. Luton Town will not do that. Better going forward. They will take their time. They will get in the area. They will create opportunities, and they will more likely score. So I don't think we can play the game the same way that we do against Stoke. So we certainly do need to be attacking more. That being said, obviously we now got 2 strikers on 11 goals. Zian Flemming, obviously, he scored in the last game. Bit of quality. Might be a thing can happen here. I'm gonna have to say it's gonna be Luton Town 1, Millwall 3, and I think it's gonna be absolute. I think it's gonna be a rout. I think we're gonna smash them. I think it's gonna be like the Preston game, although that wasn't really a rout in the first half, but second half it was. Yeah, I think you're gonna see. I think you're gonna see some. I think you're gonna see shit getting real. I think you're gonna see shit getting real.
Luton Town 1, Millwall 3. And on that note, thank you for watching, and